Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. Have you ever met someone who could unsettle you without saying a single word? Sigma males carry this quiet but intense presence that lingers in the minds of those they encounter. They do not try to be mysterious. In fact, most of what they do that leaves people feeling uneasy is unplanned. It is simply how their minds and instincts operate. They notice details most people overlook. They pick up on tone changes, fleeting expressions, and hidden intentions with unnerving accuracy. It is not about suspicion or mistrust. It is an almost automatic scanning of their environment, like their brain is tuned to a frequency others cannot hear. And when they lock eyes with someone, it is not just looking. It feels like they are studying layers beneath the surface. Their silence is never empty. When they stop speaking, it is not to avoid conversation, but to let others reveal more of themselves than they intended. People often walk away wondering why they said so much, feeling slightly exposed without knowing why. Sigma males also carry a rare kind of emotional stillness. It is not coldness, but control, a way of staying grounded even when chaos swirls around them. That calm can be comforting for some, but unsettling for others, who feel as though nothing can shake them. If you carry these traits, remember they are not flaws. They are a kind of power. You do not need to change them to make others comfortable. In fact, the very thing that makes people uneasy might also be what makes you unforgettable. Let's dive in deeper, brothers. Number 1, they look at people as if reading a secret chapter of their life, leaving others unsettled without a word being spoken. Some people can make you feel like you are being X-rayed without a single question being asked. Sigma males have this uncanny way of looking at someone that feels less like a glance and more like they are quietly reading through a private chapter of your life. It is not aggressive, it is not obvious, but it can be deeply unsettling for the person on the receiving end because it feels like nothing is left hidden. Imagine you are telling a story to a group of friends and one person is just quietly listening. They are not interrupting or nodding excessively. They are simply watching you with complete focus, as if every word is being examined for its true meaning. You start to notice their eyes do not drift away. They do not fidget or break the moment with unnecessary expressions. Instead, their gaze stays anchored, and suddenly you find yourself questioning whether your story even makes sense. You wonder if you are revealing more than you intended. What makes it even more disarming is that they rarely react in ways you expect. Most people give quick signals of approval or disagreement. Sigma males often hold back, letting the silence do the work. That lack of instant feedback forces you to fill in the blanks yourself, and in that process you sometimes give away even more. This kind of presence works in both casual and serious moments. At work, it might happen when you're explaining a decision you made and they just listen without rushing to comment. In personal life, it could be during a light conversation when they pick up on something you thought was irrelevant. The unsettling part is not that they know everything about you. It is that they make you feel as though they could if they wanted to. It is a quiet kind of psychological influence, one that does not need to speak to be heard. If you have ever experienced this, you know how powerful it is. And if you are the one with this gift, understand that it is more than observation. It is a skill that can shape conversations, shift relationships, and reveal truths that others never intended to share. Number 2, they remember small, seemingly unimportant details about someone, then bring it up later in a way that feels almost supernatural. Some people seem to have a memory that works like a hidden camera, quietly storing away the tiniest details you never thought anyone noticed. Sigma males have this rare habit of catching the little things most people dismiss. They might hear you mention in passing that you used to love a certain snack as a child, or that you once got lost in a foreign city, and they will store it away without you even realizing. Then, weeks or months later, it will resurface in the most unexpected moment, and it will feel almost supernatural. Picture this. You are having a casual conversation at work, and mention how you miss a certain type of tea your grandmother used to make. You forget the comment within an hour. Months later, you walk into the office on a rainy morning, and that same tea is sitting on your desk with no note, just a small smile from them when you ask about it. You are caught off guard because it is not just the gesture. It is the fact they remembered something you barely remembered telling them. This ability can show up in conversations too. You might be talking about something completely different, and out of nowhere they connect it to a detail you told them long ago. It is never forced. It is never to show off. It just flows into the moment, and it leaves you wondering how they can recall such things so effortlessly. The unsettling part is not just their memory. It is the way these details are brought back to life at precisely the right time. It makes you feel both understood and a little exposed. You realize they were paying attention when you thought no one was. In everyday life, this can build trust, but it can also make people slightly cautious around them. Because if they can remember something that small, what else have they noticed? This quiet precision is more than a sharp memory. It is a deep attentiveness that makes every interaction with them feel just a little more meaningful and sometimes a little unnerving. Number 3. They hold eye contact long enough to make people question what they might be hiding. There is a certain kind of eye contact that does not just meet your gaze, but stays there long enough to make your thoughts start rearranging themselves. Sigma males have mastered this without even trying. It is not a glare, and it is not meant to intimidate. It is steady, unhurried, and strangely probing, as if they are silently weighing every word you say and every expression you give. Most people are comfortable with quick glances. We look away, we break the moment so no one feels too exposed. But when someone holds eye contact longer than what feels normal, the mind starts to wander. You begin to wonder if they can see past what you are saying. You might even start adjusting your words, checking your tone, or second-guessing your own story. Imagine sitting across from someone in a cafe, talking about a decision you made at work. You expect the usual nods and short affirmations, but instead, they just listen and keep their eyes on you. Seconds stretch, and without meaning to, you begin revealing more details. You tell them not only what happened, but also what you were really thinking in that moment. When you finish, you realize you shared more than you planned, all because their gaze never flinched. This kind of eye contact has a strange effect. It can make people feel seen in a way that is rare, but it can also leave them wondering if they revealed something they should have kept to themselves. It is not about dominance or control, it is about presence. In daily life, this can happen in serious conversations, casual chats, or even moments of silence. And often, the person holding that gaze walks away knowing more about you than you expected to share, while you are left questioning what they might be keeping to themselves. It is a quiet form of power, the kind that unsettles not because it is loud, but because it makes you hear your own thoughts more clearly than you wanted to. Number 4. They notice patterns in people's behavior that even close friends or family miss. Some people only hear what you say. Sigma males notice what you do over time, and that is where their real insight lies. They have a quiet way of picking up on patterns in behavior that even the people closest to you overlook. It is not about suspicion or constantly watching. It is simply how their mind processes interactions, slotting small pieces together until a bigger picture appears. You might think you are unpredictable, but they can spot the tiny repetitions you never notice. Maybe you always change the subject when a certain topic is brought up. Maybe you smile differently when you are hiding bad news. Maybe you check your phone at the exact same moments in a conversation without realizing it. These little habits are invisible to most, but not to them. Picture this. A friend is sharing a story about their life, and everyone is laughing along. The Sigma male, however, notices that the friend always leaves out a particular name whenever they talk about the past. They do not mention it right away. They simply store it, and over time they start connecting it to other missing pieces. Eventually, the pattern reveals a truth that no one else even thought to question. This awareness works in everyday situations too. At work, they might notice a colleague always sends emails late at night before big meetings. In relationships, they might quietly pick up on the way someone's mood shifts after speaking to a certain person. The unsettling part is that they rarely need to confront you about it. Often they just hold that knowledge, using it to understand you on a level you did not consent to share. That can be comforting if you trust them, but unnerving if you do not. What makes this so powerful is that they do not chase clues. They let them come naturally. And when those clues line up into a clear pattern, it is almost impossible to hide anything from them. It is like they are quietly assembling a puzzle you did not know you were giving them all the pieces for. Number 5. They sense tension before it fully forms and adjust their presence accordingly. Some people react to tension only after it becomes obvious. Sigma males seem to catch it before it even has a chance to surface. It could be a subtle shift in someone's tone, a change in posture, or even the way the air feels in the space. They register these signs almost instantly, like their mind is tuned to an early warning system. And before others know something is off, they have already adjusted how they are moving, speaking, or even where they are standing. Imagine you are in a group conversation and everyone is relaxed. Then someone makes a comment that lands just a little too sharp. Most people keep talking until the awkwardness becomes undeniable. The Sigma male, however, catches the flicker in someone's eyes, or the way a smile fades just slightly. Without making it obvious, they might steer the topic elsewhere or position themselves in a way that eases the strain. By the time others would have felt the tension, it is already gone. This is not limited to group situations. In one-on-one interactions, they can feel when a subject is touching a nerve. Maybe you hesitate for a fraction of a second before answering a question. Maybe your voice drops slightly. While most would miss these micro-shifts, they notice and adjust, softening their approach, changing their wording, or simply giving you space. What makes this so striking is that it rarely feels forced. You do not see them thinking about it. It is as if they instinctively know how to avoid letting small sparks turn into fires. In daily life, this makes them both disarming and a little unpredictable. They can diffuse a situation without anyone realizing there was a situation to begin with. For some, this creates trust. For others, it is slightly unnerving to know that someone can feel the undercurrents you are not even aware you are giving off. This quiet awareness is more than social skill. It is a form of emotional radar, and it gives them the power to move through tense moments without getting caught in them. Number 6. They have the ability to switch from warmth to complete emotional neutrality in an instant. Some people's moods shift gradually, giving you time to sense the change. With Sigma males, the transition can be instant, and that is what makes it so striking. One moment they are warm, engaged, and open, making you feel entirely at ease. The next moment, it is as if a door in their mind quietly shuts, leaving you speaking to someone who has removed all emotional color from their presence. It is not about anger or withdrawal. It is more like they have flipped a switch that moves them from personal connection to pure observation. And the change can be so sudden that you find yourself wondering if you said something wrong or if they have simply decided to step back. Imagine you are sharing a light-hearted conversation and both of you are laughing. Then you mention something serious or potentially sensitive. In that instant, their expression settles, their voice loses its warmth, and their body language becomes unreadable. They are still present, still listening, but now you feel like you are being studied rather than engaged. This shift can also happen in group settings. They might be joining in the banter, telling stories, and then suddenly they are silent, their attention scanning the people around them rather than contributing. It is not discomfort. It is a deliberate move to detach from the flow and take in the bigger picture. For some, this change is unsettling because it is hard to predict. You can be completely comfortable and then feel as though you are standing in front of someone who is no longer participating emotionally. For others, it can be reassuring, especially in moments that require calm, clear thinking. In everyday life, this ability allows them to protect their emotional energy and maintain control over their responses. But it also gives them a subtle edge in understanding people and situations because they can step outside the emotional current while others are still swept up in it. It is a skill that can make them seem unpredictable, yet it is often the reason they remain steady when everyone else is losing balance. Number 7. They can listen without revealing whether they agree, disagree, or judge, making others feel oddly exposed. Most people give away what they are thinking without realizing it. A raised eyebrow, a quick nod, a small smirk. These little signals leak their opinions before they even speak. Sigma males, however, have mastered the rare art of listening without giving away a single clue. They can sit through an entire conversation without revealing whether they agree, disagree, or even care about the topic. And that absence of reaction is exactly what makes people feel oddly exposed. When you talk to someone, you are used to a feedback loop. If you share a joke, you expect a smile. If you express frustration, you expect a frown. But when those cues are missing, your mind starts working overtime. You begin to wonder what they are really thinking. You replay your own words in your head, questioning whether you said too much or too little. Imagine explaining a mistake you made at work. Most people would quickly reassure you or point out what went wrong. A Sigma male, on the other hand, might just listen silently, eyes steady, expression unreadable. You keep talking, filling the silence with more details than you intended to share. By the end, you realize you have given them a complete picture without them asking a single question. This type of listening is not coldness, it is deliberate space. They let you unravel your own thoughts without interference, which can be deeply revealing. But for many, that space feels like standing under a bright light with nowhere to hide. In daily life, this makes them both trusted and intimidating. People come to them because they know they will be heard. Yet the same people sometimes walk away unsettled, aware that the Sigma male now knows far more than they do in return. It is a quiet kind of influence, one that works not by speaking but by letting others speak themselves into complete vulnerability. Number 8. They disappear from social circles for long periods and reappear as if nothing happened. Some people slowly fade out of social life and then make a big announcement when they return. Sigma males do it differently. They can vanish from a circle for weeks, months, sometimes even longer without explanation, and then step back in as though they never left. There is no long apology, no dramatic story about where they have been. They simply reappear and pick up right where things paused. What makes this so unusual is how smoothly they do it. Most people would feel the need to explain themselves to avoid awkwardness. Sigma males rarely feel that pressure. If you were part of their world before, they treat you as if the connection was never interrupted. This can be disarming for others, especially in a time where constant updates and check-ins are expected. Picture a friend group that meets regularly. Everyone notices when one person stops showing up, and they naturally start asking questions. With a Sigma male, there might be no warning. One day they are there, the next they are not. And when they finally show up again, they join the conversation mid-topic, as if they were present the whole time. This ability often leaves people with mixed feelings. Some find it refreshing, appreciating that the bond is not dependent on constant contact. Others find it unsettling because it breaks the usual rhythm of relationships. It challenges the unspoken rule that absence must be accounted for. In everyday life, this can make them hard to predict. They are not bound by the fear of missing out or the need to maintain visibility. When they step away, it is intentional, often to focus on personal goals or simply to reset. And when they return, it is on their terms, without seeking validation or approval for the absence. This pattern is part of what makes them so intriguing. They remind people that connections do not always need constant maintenance to remain strong. But they also keep others guessing about where they have been and what they have been doing. That mystery, whether comforting or unsettling, never quite fades. Number 9. They detect insincerity so subtly that the other person feels caught without knowing how. Some people have a way of knowing when you are being honest and when you are not, but Sigma males take this to another level. They can sense insincerity so quietly and precisely that the person lying or hiding something doesn't even realize they've been caught. It is not about reading obvious signs like nervous sweating or stammering. It is about picking up on tiny shifts in tone, slight changes in word choice, or the way body language fails to match the words spoken. Imagine you are telling a story that is only half true. Most people might smile politely or ask a few questions, but the Sigma male listens with a sharper ear and a calmer face. You might feel comfortable at first, but somewhere deep inside, you get a strange feeling like you've been silently judged. You can't pinpoint why, but their calm, steady presence unsettles you. This detection works like a sixth sense. It is so subtle that it can happen in everyday conversations, at work when someone offers excuses, or at a social gathering when someone pretends to care. Sigma males do not need proof or confrontation. Their quiet awareness is enough to make the insincere person squirm, even if no one else notices. What makes this so powerful is that it is never loud or aggressive. There is no finger-pointing or dramatic reveal. Instead, the other person simply feels the weight of being seen through, as if their mask is transparent, even though they tried to hold it in place. In daily life, this ability builds a kind of invisible barrier. People quickly learn that half-truths or fake smiles do not work around them. This can protect Sigma males from manipulation, but also isolate them, because few want to be that vulnerable under such clear eyes. This subtle skill shapes their relationships and interactions, making them difficult to deceive and even harder to surprise. It is a quiet power that moves beneath the surface, but leaves a lasting impression. Number 10. They withhold reactions, which makes others anxious about what they might be thinking. Most people wear their feelings on their sleeve. A smile, a frown, a quick glance. These little reactions give others clues about what they are thinking or feeling. Sigma males do something different. They often keep their reactions hidden, holding back any visible sign of approval, disagreement, or surprise. This silence can make others feel uneasy, because it leaves everything open to guesswork. Imagine telling someone a story and waiting for a response. Instead of nodding or reacting, the Sigma male simply listens, their face calm and unreadable. You start wondering if you said something wrong. You ask yourself, did they like it? Did they agree? Are they judging me? The lack of feedback creates a kind of tension because your mind tries to fill the silence with possibilities, none of them comfortable. This quiet withholding is not about ignoring or dismissing. It is a way of staying in control. By not giving away what they think, Sigma males keep their thoughts and feelings private, making it hard for others to predict their next move. In everyday life, this makes conversations with them different from most. You don't get the usual signs that guide how you speak or behave. Instead, you find yourself second-guessing and over-explaining. This can make people anxious but also curious because the silence demands attention. For those who understand it, this ability is a form of strength. It allows Sigma males to observe without interference and decide when and how to respond. But for many, it creates a sense of walking on eggshells, unsure of what will come next. This is a powerful, silent tool. By holding back reactions, Sigma males shift the balance of control in conversations, making others reveal more than they intended and giving themselves space to stay one step ahead. Number 11. They change their body language in response to micro-shifts in others' emotions without conscious effort. Most people notice big changes in mood, like someone suddenly getting angry or excited. But Sigma males pick up on the smallest shifts in how others feel. These changes can be almost invisible, like a quick tightening of the jaw, a brief hesitation in speech, or a tiny drop in energy. Without even thinking about it, Sigma males adjust their own body language in response. For example, if someone they are talking to suddenly becomes uneasy, they might subtly lean back, soften their tone, or lower their gaze just enough to calm the moment. If the other person starts feeling confident or excited, they might sit a little straighter or match that energy with a slight smile. These changes happen naturally and smoothly, almost like a silent conversation happening beneath words. Imagine you are sharing a difficult story, and right when you mention something painful, the person listening shifts their posture, their face relaxing in a way that tells you they understand without saying a word. You feel heard and safe even though they never said, "I get it." This ability is like a hidden emotional radar. Sigma males don't need to analyze or plan these reactions, they just happen. It's a deep connection that happens on an instinctive level, allowing them to respond to feelings before they fully emerge. In daily life, this makes them excellent at managing social situations. They can ease tension, encourage openness, or protect themselves by pulling back without anyone noticing the subtle moves behind the scenes. What makes this so impressive is that it feels natural, never forced or fake. People around them often find themselves mirroring these small body language cues without realizing it, creating a flow of unspoken understanding. This skill gives Sigma males an almost invisible influence over the emotional atmosphere around them, allowing them to navigate relationships with a calm and quiet mastery few can match. Number 12. They can be physically present yet mentally detached, making people feel like they are speaking into a void. Sometimes a person can be right in front of you but feel miles away at the same time. Sigma males often have this strange ability to be physically present while their mind drifts somewhere else entirely. They might be sitting across the table, nodding politely, but inside they are thinking on a different plane. This mental detachment can make people feel as if they are speaking into a void, talking but not really connecting. Imagine you are sharing something important with someone. You look up and see their face, but their eyes seem distant, almost like they are watching something invisible. Their responses are slow or minimal, not because they do not care, but because their mind is occupied elsewhere. It leaves you wondering if what you are saying even matters. This isn't about ignoring or being rude. For Sigma males, this mental space is a way to protect themselves, process information deeply, or simply recharge. They are not caught up in small talk or emotional waves. Instead, they operate on a level that often feels out of reach to others. In everyday situations, this can create a sense of mystery. People might appreciate their calm and steady presence, but also feel a bit frustrated by the lack of full engagement. It can seem like trying to have a conversation with someone whose thoughts are floating in a different world. This detachment is a double-edged sword. It allows Sigma males to stay clear-headed and avoid getting overwhelmed. But it also makes building close connections harder because others might feel unseen or unheard. What makes this so fascinating is how they balance being there and not being there at the same time. Their physical presence anchors a moment, but their mind's distance keeps them untouchable, almost like a ghost in a crowded room. It is a silent power, one that gives them space to think and act without distractions, but it can leave others wondering if they ever really get to the heart of who they are. In conclusion, have you ever stopped to think about the quiet power you hold without even trying? Sigma males move through the world in ways that most people don't notice at first, but their presence leaves a lasting mark. The way you observe, remember, and respond goes beyond simple actions. It taps into something deeper and more mysterious. You have the ability to see what others miss, to hold space without giving away your thoughts, and to navigate emotions with a steady calm that both draws people in and keeps them guessing. These are not weaknesses or burdens. They are unique strengths that set you apart in a world full of noise and confusion. Sometimes this quiet influence can feel lonely or misunderstood, but remember, being different is not a flaw, it is a gift. Your depth, your silence, and your insight create a force that is both subtle and unstoppable. You do not need to explain or change these parts of yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. Instead, own these spine-chilling traits that make you unforgettable. They are the very things that give you power, resilience, and a sense of purpose that others often lack. Keep trusting your instincts. Stay true to your nature, and remember that your calm strength can inspire those around you even when you say nothing at all. You are not just living through life. You are quietly shaping it in ways no one else can. That is something to be proud of. Thank you, watching brothers.